Well, hello again, you scrublords, and welcome back to another episode of Devlog Chats. This is your host, Many Miles Away, and today we got a lot to talk about here. I was about to sit down and record this, and I just happened to open up War Thunder's website and scheduled server maintenance for the 20th of December, 2016 at 8 p.m. GMT, or 8 o'clock GMT. I don't know when that is. Anyway, in other words, the Update 1.65, the much-awaited Japanese ground forces, is coming out tomorrow. I'm recording this at 1:37 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 19th of December 2016, so literally a day beforehand. And so for many of you, this video will be somewhat irrelevant. However, I'm going to put it up anyways because fuck it, I've put together all this footage and I am not going back and not recording it all. In any case, let's get right into the talking points here. I've actually listed some talking points for once. Normally I just wing this thing, so let's get right into it. So what have I been doing over the past week? Well, last week I released the M8A1 Super Unicorn review, which seems to be extremely popular. Within one day or so, or within 48 hours, I had over 9,000 views. It usually takes me a couple of weeks to get up to that point, but literally within 48 hours, it was all the way up there, so I am super appreciative of your guys' support in that regard. It boggles my mind how quickly some of these videos become popular, and I am just about to get completely wrecked by this Showshat machine gun here in Verdun. Yes, I did buy Verdun last week, and I've been playing it pretty much all weekend, and I've been having a lot of fun with this game. Actually, I've been enjoying this game more than I've been enjoying Battlefield 1. I've been doing better in it, too. And not to say that Battlefield 1 is a bad game, but I think I just prefer the more realistic and more bolt-action rifle-centered gameplay that Verdun accentuates and focuses on. I like the World War I-esque feel of Verdun a lot more than Battlefield 1's, frankly, Call of Duty copy-paste format that they basically, where they try and cater it to pretty much most of the FPS community. I like where Verdun has taken their game, and I've been looking at picking it up for a little while now, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And I saw it on sale last week for like 14, 15 bucks. It was half off, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity. So I picked it up, and I've been playing it. I've been having a lot of fun with that. Although, at the start of this gameplay, I'm going to be sucking a lot, so just bear with me. Oh, yep, there we go. I saw that guy was just about to pull the trigger, and I got wrecked. In any case, let's get on to some more talking points here. So last week I picked up Verdun, I released the Super Unicorn review, and I also started something else. I finally got around to recording and putting up the first part of the interview series with my grandfather, George Greenwald, who is a Holocaust survivor, and although it hasn't received anywhere near the attention of my Super Unicorn reviews, that wasn't its goal. And a lot of people have been wondering why I was putting this sort of content up. I wasn't necessarily putting it up for you guys as much as I love you guys, and I love your support that you guys grant me. As much as I love you guys, that wasn't necessarily for everybody. Basically, I have been talking with my grandfather over the past few years about him writing a book, recording it somehow, doing like voice recordings, whatever. We've been trying to figure out ways to do this, and we just been, like, things have gotten in the way, timing has been bad, and we have finally gotten around to just sitting down, focusing on his experiences and talking about it. And I don't think it was a matter of him not wanting to talk about it, because he does regular talks at high schools and other children's schools about this sort of thing all the time. The problem with talking on those sorts of programs is that he's trying to condense like 10 months worth of material down into 45 minutes, or several years of material down into 45 minutes. And it's very, very difficult for one to do that and do it properly. Now, he sort of basically picked out the highlights of his experiences, if you can call them that. And the nice thing about what we're doing here is that there is no limit to there is no time limit, so he can talk about whatever he feels the need to, which is fantastic. And the basic idea behind all this is to record as much of his story as possible and use YouTube as sort of an internet archive that I can freely access in the future. And maybe once we've gotten all of his story recorded, I'll throw it together in one massive compilation, and then put that up as like a single like, I don't know, 10-hour video or something like that, depending on how long it ends up being. So in regards to that sort of thing, that's the idea that we're going for. My next talking point here is actually going to be something that you guys would be very, very interested in. I am going to be giving away my official key for Japanese ground forces closed beta testing. Now, don't worry, don't panic. I already have access to Japanese ground forces CBT. I bought both of the packages out of my own pocket. This past week, I was having issues contacting Gaijin, and I got sick of waiting, so I just said, fuck it, and bought both of the packages. And those guys really need to learn not to skyline themselves against the trenches and the... You know what I mean. In any case. So yeah, I was just sent this email literally about 15-20 minutes ago, and I did get permission from them, and I can just straight up give this key away, so that's what I'm going to do. You guys give so much to me and so much enjoyment in what I do, I think it's time that I give back to you guys, give you something for a change. And I know I've done some giveaways in the past. My very first giveaway was a 10,000 Golden Eagle giveaway at 500 subscribers, which was hilarious because it kind of boosted me straight up to 1,000 subscribers. Mainly because Jingles actually shared my Facebook post on it. But anyway, that's a long story. I also did 2 5,000 Golden Eagle giveaways, giveaway codes a while back. I think that was for my 2,000 subscribers or something. And then I promised I would give away something at 5,000 subscribers, but that came and went mainly because I just didn't have the funds to dip into my pocket at the time. I mean, that's expensive stuff. $50 is nothing to sniff at. I mean, that's pretty much the price of a AAA title right there. In any case, this pack, the code for this pack is going to be for the Chiha 12cm. It's not for the Tiger, unfortunately. I would have liked to have had a Tiger to give away to you guys, but I'll take what I get. And so I'm taking this code and I'm going to give it back to you guys. So one of you lucky people out there who really doesn't want to grind through those all those challenges and give up so much of your social life just to get access to the Japanese CBT, well, this is your opportunity. So in regards to how this is going to work, there's going to be a link in the video description, and you're going to click on that link. It'll take you to a page called Promo Simple. I've used this in the past. It's pretty simple. You just put in your email address, fill out the CAPTCHA, whatever the thing is, and then you submit an entry. However, you can also like my Facebook page where I post background updates on the channel and all those sorts of things. So if you're wondering kind of what I do behind the scenes and wondering about like, some of the personal stuff, I'll just post every now and then. Like maybe I'll find something funny and I'll put it up there. That's the place where I post everything. So if you have a Facebook account and you haven't liked my Facebook page, this is a good incentive to do so, because if you do like my Facebook page through Promo Sample, you get an extra entry. So you get 2 entries, 2 chances to win. So if you guys win, and by the way, there are some rules to this, and I'll explain those in a moment. If you do win, I will send the email that's inputted and the code and basically a congratulations message, and you just basically go to the link I'll provide in the email. It'll take you to Gaijin's website. You copy paste the code in there, enter, and there you go. You have yourself a Chiha. Now, like I said, there are some rules to this. The main rule is that, well, you have to give me the code, or you have to give me the email associated with your in-game War Thunder account. If you try and give me like 3 or 4 emails that have nothing to do with War Thunder, the code cannot be applied to your account. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works. And this is also a good way to do it simply because that way people who have multiple emails can't just spam entries. So send me your email associated with your Wartherner account and nothing else. That's all I need. Okay? Got it? Alright, let's move on. Oh, by the way, the code will be given out and the email will be sent out on Christmas Day. So this is going to be your Christmas present to whoever wins. So please enjoy that. Whoever gets it, good luck. Link in the video description. And have fun and hopefully you win. In any case, moving on here. Oh yes, last week I also started my own Discord server. I bit the bullet and I've finally established a Discord server. Currently the bot on it doesn't work, and I gotta fix a few other things, though I have some really nice admins who have been helping me out getting it running and keeping it in order, which I am very thankful for those of you who have those permissions. Thanks for keeping things in order. And also I want to say thanks to you guys who have already joined. I mentioned it in the Super Unicorn review that I had started my own Discord server. Again, invite link in the video description. You can meet me, you can PM me, and I'm usually pretty good at getting back to you within a reasonable amount of time. Usually I won't leave. I will always see when people message me. I check a lot of my social media sources on almost a bi-hourly basis, so I will see your message if you send it to me. In any case, when you join the server, message one of the admins who happens to be online and ask for basic scrub permissions. The reason I have this set up is so that way people who just randomly join the Discord and want to troll, they can't talk, essentially. You have to have at least basic scrub permissions in order to actually speak on the Discord server. So keep that in mind. When you join, message one of the admins, and they will get you hooked up. Also, if you have any issues with the Discord, something doesn't work, message one of the admins or message me, and then we'll get it sorted as best as we can. So one last time, Discord link, invite link in the video description. Please go check it out, and I just got absolutely wrecked by that machine gun. In any case, moving on here. So quickly going into some of the recent devlogs here before I get on to the third topic, which will be what's wrong with Japanese tanks. The second major topic is the recent devlogs and some of the things we've seen on the dev server that have been relatively new. The first one is going to be the devlogs on the Type 74 and the STB-1. I have been waiting for those devlogs for quite a while now, and they both look to be some really excellent vehicles from what I've seen on the dev server. And from some other content creators' videos on them, mainly Fly's video on the pneumatic suspension, which I'm about to get into here in a moment. My personal thoughts on them, they look fantastic, and they certainly seem to be a major contender for some of the best tanks in the game, in my opinion. I'm not going to say that they're going to totally dethrone the Leopard, but I'm probably going to say that they are at least on par with it. Maybe not in terms of mobility, their top speed is nowhere near as high as the Leopard. However, the STB-1 in particular has armor. It has basically armor on the front of it equivalent to a T-54 on the front of the hull, although the turret armor is quite lackluster. The STB-1's armor also appears to be wrong, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And both of these vehicles are armed with the L7A3 105mm gun, so they're both going to have the same ammunition types available as the Leopard. In the case of the Type 74, it's getting an upgraded APDS round with 320 pen that we also see on the M60A1. So it's going to be a major contender for some of the best tanks at Tier 5. So those people who are kind of anxious about the Japanese tanks and where they're going to fit in the Tier 5 meta, I think they're going to do just fine. I mean, another reason why they're going to be fitting so well in the Tier 5 meta is because of their hydropneumatic suspension, which has been a major talking point ever since it was announced. And it was literally announced the day after I uploaded my last devlog chats video, which really pissed me off because everybody was mentioning in the comments, "Oh, Miles, you didn't talk about the hydropneumatic suspension." God damn it, I recorded it one day beforehand. Gaijin, give me a break, for fuck's sake. in any case, in all seriousness, the hydropneumatic suspension, initially, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't particularly impressed. It didn't, like, blow me away like so many other people did. I don't know, maybe that's because of the way World of Tanks has just implemented their hydropneumatic suspension with their whole siege mode on some Swedish vehicles. However, having thought about it a little bit over the past couple of weeks, it's really struck me how game-changing that suspension is going to be, especially with Fly Daily's video on hydropneumatic suspension. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's actually, even if you don't like Fly Daily, just watch some of the things that you can do with that. And part of the reason that it's going to be such a valuable, I don't want to say piece of equipment because it's part of the vehicle, but a valuable aspect and a valuable addition to the game is not simply because it adds a whole new element to the vehicles in question, but because it gives an opening to many, many more vehicles in the future, notably the STRV-103B, or the S-Tank, the Swedish S-Tank, which in my opinion I'd actually quite like to see as a Tier 5 vehicle for the Brits. I mean, they've already got the STRV-81, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. So, we'll have to wait and see for whenever we decide to get Swedish vehicles. Who knows when that's going to come. But in any case, it opens up a whole new range of vehicles, as well as the next thing I'm going to get into here. And it makes me very, very excited for these new vehicles. Now, the next thing that I really want to talk about is another thing that we all witnessed on the dev server, which is the finally addition of a vehicle with an autoloader. Now, I know that this has been a source of much, I want to say, controversy over the past week or so, ever since the dev server came up, because they previously had not really announced the Chi-Ri 2 as going to be having an autoloader. It was rumored that the Chi-Ri 2 had a 75mm auto-loading system, but I wasn't totally sure about it, so I didn't want to make any speculations on it until I saw. And it didn't occur to me, and when I initially saw it on the dev server, those of you who were there for the live stream, I initially thought it was a bug. Because I pulled up the modifications, I was like, to see the unlock, see if there's any extra ammunition types to be unlocked. And for the 75mm gun, it had like an ammunition belt, kind of a thing that that showed in there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's just a bug, and don't worry about it. And I was looking at the 37mm gun. Yes, the Chi-Ri 2 has a 37mm anti-tank gun mounted in the hull for whatever reason. I can't imagine that's going to be totally useful, but hey, I mean, hey, it's an extra gun, so whatever. But in any case, it took me a second, and then I looked over at the statistics, and it said 18 rounds per minute. And I thought to myself, okay, that's a little weird. Looked back at the belts, looked at the 18 rounds per minute, and it hit me. I was like, oh my god, this is an autoloader. Holy shit. Now, I didn't know exactly how many shots were in the magazine. I wasn't sure whether it was 4, whether it was 3. Fly's video confirmed that. It is a 3-shot magazine autoloader. So, the way this works is, every shot that you fire within this autoloader, there is like a 2.8, I've heard anywhere between a 2.8 and 3.3 second delay between the shells. After you fire those 3 rounds, you go through up to a 25 second or a minimum 25 second reloading cycle, or should I say maximum, because that's with an ace crew. If you have an ace crew, you go through a 25 second reloading cycle where your guys reload the 3-shot magazine. What this means is that you're going to be able to come around a corner, take out 3 enemies in rapid succession. It's going to take you about 6 seconds from the first shot to unload the magazine. You put those 3 rounds in, you do your damage, you can knock out 3 tanks, and then you pull back for a reload. And this is going to give an element to War Thunder that a lot of people have been kind of hoping for a little while, which is the sort of bursty combat. Because up until this point, we've all had single-shot guns. I'm personally a big fan of single-shot guns, but autoloaders were something that I was kind of always hoping they would implement at some point. And now that we're finally getting it with the Chi-Ri, it's both cool and scary at the same time, because it's going to throw a lot of people off guard who haven't really paid attention to the dev server. And like I said, this is going to open up a massive amount of vehicles to add to the tech tree, mainly the post-war French designs with oscillating turrets. The AMX 1375, the AMX 1390, the Batchatillion 25-ton, the AMX 5100, the AMX 5120, all of those vehicles have oscillating turrets with auto-loading guns. And those vehicles are going to be absolutely devastating. They're going to be glass cannony, but they're going to be absolutely devastating. So it's going to be interesting once they finally add in those tech trees. And Gaijin have already confirmed that both the Italian and the French tech trees are coming. So we'll just have to wait and see how those turn out. And they're set to come sometime in 2017. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the Chi-Ri and autoloaders to come in the future, and we'll definitely put some videos up on it, and we'll see how well they perform in battle. So moving on to our very, very last topic of today is some of the issues with the previous iteration of the Japanese ground forces on the dev server. Those of you who frequent my Waffenträger's blog, the lady I pointed out in my last dev blog chats, or my Mega Dev Blog Chats video, where I talked about some of the upcoming vehicles and sort of like a Mega Dev Blog Chats, and I mentioned my Waffenträger's blog, who's the official Japanese tank consultant for Gaijin Entertainment, and she put out an article a few days ago. It's not, this is all referring to the dev server, by the way. This is not the official release. She was talking about some of the issues and statistical issues with Japanese tanks as they were on the dev server. It seemed like a lot of the statistics on the Japanese vehicles were placeholders. Japanese tanks were missing shells. They had much lower penetration. Gun depression values weren't right. Like, it was a mess in terms of correct statistics for such vehicles. So hopefully, and I'm praying as well as many other people who are desperately hoping the Japanese tanks are going to be good, that Gaijin fixes these placeholder statistics before they get to War Thunder's live server, which is literally less than 24 hours away from the time of this recording. So hopefully Gaijin fixes their shit and gets that under control. Otherwise, the Japanese ground forces are really going to struggle. Basically, it's not going to be up until Tier 5, really, where the Japanese are going to start to get good. And that brings me on to another issue that the Japanese have, and a lot of people were complaining about with the coming Japanese ground forces, is that with the exception of the Japanese Tiger, they don't have any heavy tanks. That is literally, the Japanese Premium Tiger is the only Japanese heavy tank with 1.65 that's coming with the Japanese ground forces. That's a big problem, because the Japanese don't really have any vehicles that can push the front line. A lot of these Japanese vehicles are going to be sort of fire support vehicles, if I'm going to put it lightly. They're going to be fast flankers, who have devastating ammunition available to them in the case of APHE, but they have low penetration, very weak armor, and they're not going to win generally in a heads-up fight with an enemy vehicle. So the lack of Japanese heavies, although they are super heavies, and a lot of people would claim them to be paper designs, which they aren't. I'll get to that in a moment. The lack of Japanese heavy tanks that can support their front lines is going to be a major downside for Japanese ground forces until their implementation. Now, they are going to be coming, but they're planned for another patch. Now, I can understand that from a business perspective. They don't want to just give us the entire tech tree, although because they want to hold some stuff back to provide us with additional content in the coming patches. However, the fact that the Japanese don't have any heavy tanks of any kind other than a premium is a big deal, and that's a big downside with the Japanese ground forces, at least in this first iteration on both the dev server and coming update 1.65. So we'll have to wait and see how the Japanese heavies turn out. I personally can't wait, but in any case, let's move on to this last point here. So the last thing I want to talk about today is the debate over whether the OI was built. The OI, in a short answer, was built. One prototype was constructed. And if you guys do not believe me, there is a great picture on Mai's blog, which I will link in the video description, like I did last time, of a Japanese OI tank track link. And it really doesn't, and some people are just like, oh, well, that's not sufficient evidence to say that the OI was built. Then why the fuck would the Japanese build simply one track link for a vehicle if they weren't going to test anything with it? What was the point of that? They needed every single resource possible to be put towards shipbuilding and other manufacturing. Why the fuck would they just build one track link then? That's my question to those people who doubt the OI's existence. Not to mention the fact that there are significant documental evidence. I'm sure that's not even a word, but there are significant evidence in Japanese archives talking about the performance characteristics of the OI. So for those people who doubt its existence, it existed. I don't know how to further explain it to you. If you doubt me still, go read Mai's blog. I will put a link to the actual blog post in the video description talking about the OI. It's a two-part series, and I highly suggest that you read through the entirety of the blog post. It was built, and it's going to be put in the game, just not with this patch, which very, very much saddens me, because a 150-ton tank with a 150mm gun, well, why the fuck not? Yeah, that's the way I see it. So, I thank you guys for listening to me ramble on about Japanese ground forces for a little bit, and some of the things that I've been going over the past week. The Super Unicorn review this coming week is actually going to be released on Christmas as well, so you can also expect that the winner of the giveaway, remember, link in the video description to that giveaway for a free Chiha 12cm, the winner for that giveaway will have been chosen when the video for the Super Unicorn review goes up this coming Sunday. Without further ado, Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for this epic year. It's come a long way. I remember I started at, I think it was 10 subscribers or so, and when I put my first Unicorn review up, and I'm sitting here at 8,500, and frankly, I could not be happier. Thank you guys for your support. I hope to see you guys more in the coming year, and I hope to see this channel grow beyond my wildest expectations, as I'm sure many of you wish for it as well. In any case, this has been Many Miles Away. Keep your tracks checked, keep your binos in place, keep around in the tube, and I will see you guys in the next video.